After praising Allah and sending salutation upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's greeting the entire Jamaat or the congregation, the brothers and the sisters and the youth. And he said the topic of the khutbah that he gave is dealing with the subject of the brotherhood in Islam. He said it's the Prophet ﷺ that was the first person to firmly establish the Islamic brotherhood from a concept to a reality when he migrated from Mecca to Medina and established the brotherhood between the immigrants and those that were known as the helpers or the Ansar. Those are the people of Medina that welcomed them. He said the Islamic brotherhood is something that is huge in Islam, but until this day, there's some of us that haven't gotten that yet. He said because Allah in the ayah where he said innamal mu'minuna ikhwa, or verily the believers are a brotherhood, he said in reality it's deeper than that. And if you look at it linguistically, said the inna of innama is a word that when it comes, Allah is trying to emphasize something to you, to say for what else coming after, sure enough this is what it is. So he's saying verily the believers are nothing but a brotherhood. So if they're not a brotherhood, they're not nothing. They're not even a believer. So we see from that alone, this is something serious in Islam. And he said this brotherhood relationship in Islam, it has certain conditions, and every brother has certain rights on their fellow Muslim brother. And he said among or included in those responsibilities that each Muslim has on their brother is that if he greets you, you're responsible to return the greeting with a similar greeting or something better. If your brother Muslim fall ill or sick, it's his right on you that you go and visit him. I'm sorry. If your brother Muslim needs assistance and you can assist him in any way, it's their right that you assist him. If he invites you to some gathering, unless you have something pressing legally, Sharia-wise, then it's your responsibility to honor that invite and attend. Even to the point where when your brother Muslim passed away, it's his right on you for you to escort him to his final resting place. And he said all these things that Allah made, as rights or shurut or conditions for brotherhood, he only did it because those things, when you do them, the more that you do them, they increase love between people. And the end result of all of it is that Allah, he wants the believers to love one another. He said, the Prophet ﷺ said, even if somebody invited me to like a dinner where all they prepared was some lamb feet, some lamb knuckles, then I would come. And he said what he mean by saying that is that whenever your fellow Muslim brother invites you, then you should attend, again, unless you have some excuse that's accepted in the Sharia. And he said, among the things that the Prophet ﷺ, went out of his way to teach the people of his time was that there's no difference in Islam between the Arab and the non-Arab, or the black and the red, so to speak. And he said during the Fathu Mecca, or the opening of Mecca, when the Prophet ﷺ finally conquered Mecca and the Muslims came back to Mecca triumphant, he said when they entered Mecca, that first row, when they marched in, it was only the Prophet ﷺ and Bilal. Even Abu Bakr and Umar were behind him. And he did that purposely to show them just to squash it right from the beginning, that thing that they had, because they had this racism even was there back then. So he wanted to make sure that he stamped that out. And he said all of this was to further establish the brotherhood. He said when they all reached Mecca and everybody came out, the first thing the Prophet ﷺ did was turn to Bilal and say, climb on top of the Kaaba and call the adhan. And it was shocking to everybody, especially to the Quraysh, because nobody had ever done that before. So they were all standing there watching him climb up and calling the adhan. And he said Abu Sufyan, who was among the Quraysh, who, before he came into Islam, he was one of the chief persecutors of the Muslims. And he looked at me and said, Bilal, today you climbed up high over us. And he said all of that, all those actions of the Prophet ﷺ was just him teaching them that when a person into Islam, that you're an equal brother to them. If there's some difference or some variation between your level, it's not going to be based on color, money, your social status. The only difference between you will be in your taqwa, and that's something that only Allah knows. And he said, the Prophet ﷺ, he taught in the hadith, he said, don't hate each other. Don't be jealous or envy one another, and don't fight one another. He said the Muslim should be a brother, or even like a family member to their fellow Muslim brother. And as such, if you take him that way, then you wouldn't try to put him down or disgrace him or defame him. And among that includes you wouldn't let nothing happen in front of you or somebody else say something in front of you that would disgrace or bring your brother down. You would defend him from that. He said it's enough of a foul way to be or a bad action that a person would look down or despise their fellow Muslim. And he said to illustrate that, he said that once the mother of the believers, Aisha, may Allah will pleased with her, she insulted one of her co-wives by saying to her, oh, like she called her like you a Jew, like you know a Jew, like something to that effect, and to basically to insult her. And the Prophet ﷺ, he reprimanded. He said, "Oh Aisha, if you could see the effect of the sin that you did just now, if they were to take that sin and put it in the ocean, it would turn the whole ocean thick like oil."
àndoor bu baax moom mooy waral nit ki baax boo àndee ak ñu baax par force da ngay baax soo bëggut a baax sax da nga baax parce que dafa am courant bu nekk ci loolu boo xam ne dafay maas nit.
He said, and a person is not just they should be with anybody in that brotherhood. A person should know that, or is obligated on everybody to seek a good companion for your companionship, because the person is going to be like the people they rock with, so to speak. If you with somebody who's a bad person, by and by you're going to be bad. If you have a companionship with good people, then by and by you're going to be good. Even if you don't want to be good, they're going to pull you to good.
ndax nit ñi ay façon la ñetti façon lañ nit koo xam ne nii dafay changer environnement bi mu nekk ak nit koo xam ne nii environnement da koy changer ak nit koo xam ne nii du changer mënuñ koo changer.
He said, because if you look with your intellect at people, you'll know that there's only 3 categories of people. There's a person that wherever they're at, they change their environment, but the environment doesn't affect them. And there's a person that they have no effect on their environment, but wherever they're at, they change according to their environment. And then there's a person that their environment doesn't change them, they don't change the environment. Nobody can change them.
Ki nga xam ne dafay changer environnement kooku dafa war di génn di jaxasoog nit ñi heure bu nekk su tëjoo rek mu ngi ci bàkkaar ndax génn moo ëpp njëriñ mu toog moom kenn.
He said a person of the first category who wherever they at, they change the environment around them. When that person is a good person, it's obligated on them to mix with the people, to be out in the community mixing with people, because it's a benefit. That's where they benefit the most. If that person call themselves falling back, I'm going to stay away from the community, I'm going to just do my own thing, it's a sin on them because they're not being beneficial to Allah's creation.
Nit ki nga xam ne environnement da koy change kooku warta dem fu nekk fu muy dem war na koo xool bu baax.
He said for the second category of person where they know that they're very impressionable, that the environment they're in changed them, they shouldn't be all over the place. They should be very careful of where they go.
Ki nga xam ne nag moom mënta changer mënuñ koo changer may nañ ko mu def.
He said for the person who they in the middle, like they can't affect nothing around them, but people don't really change them according to their environment. They're not impressionable, so to speak. That person, they're given a free pass.
moo tax am na ñoo xam ne nekk ñoom kenn moo gën ci
That's why for some people it is better for them to be more to themselves than to mix with the brotherhood, and then some people it's better for them to always be mixing with the brotherhood. So that, if we look at it with our intellect, is something that we should know. It's worth knowing.
Parce que soxba dafa am doole ba nga xam ne nii bokk na ci misaal bu ci gën a jege mooy Omar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Omar ibn Khattab balaa moo nekk jullit moom moo wax ne Makka ba Makka daj foo teg sa tànk mak bàkkaar naa mooy naa yàlla foofu. waaye gis nga bi mu àndee ak yonent bi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam yéeg na yéeg ba bu doxee ci mbedd seytaane du ko topp dem ba nekk ñaareeli xalifa yonent bi loolu jëlewu ko ci dara lu dul ci barakatu soxba bu mu àndee ak ñoom Abu Jahal nee la meloon daf doon mooy rek di naan sàngara yu def lu bon bu mu àndee ak yonent bi nii la mel kon xam nga àndandoor dafay.
He said, again, companionship in Islam is something very serious, and it's a subtle matter. He said one of the best examples we can take, or the closest examples we can take, is with Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second Khalifa of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said about himself, he said, if you were to walk through Mecca, there's no spot that you could stand on where I didn't stand there and do some type of sin, whether it was drinking, partying, womanizing, whatever. I did it all over this place. And the only thing that changed him was his companionship with the Prophet ﷺ, to the point where after becoming Muslim and being a companion of the Prophet, when he walked down the street, whereas before, when he walking down the street and he committed sins left and right, when he walked down the street, it said that Shaitan, the Prophet ﷺ said Shaitan would take another side of the street from Umar. And he said somebody, if you get to the point, you see somebody who they got to the point from companionship to where Shaitan himself is scared of you and would rather take another route when you coming down the street, and you was a whole Shaitan yourself before that companionship, that's enough of an example for us.
waxam mënu laa delloo ci yàlla maanaam koo xam ne boo àndee ak moom ànd nga ak moom journée bi yëpp gisoo ne yokku na la dara ci côté yàlla wala sa côté iman kooku ànd ak moom personnel.
And he said that Sayyidina Luqman al-Hakim, he advised his son, and he said, don't keep companionship with nobody who, when you rock with them, they don't elevate you at all. They don't bring your spiritual status, your spiritual state up. They don't increase your energy. They don't make your energy good. And they don't remind you of Allah when you're with them. If you with somebody and you've been with them for a while, and when you're with them, you don't increase in nothing. When you're with them, they don't bring your energy up. They don't elevate you. They don't remind you of Allah. They take you away from that. Then, companionship with them is just a loss. So you should cut your losses. And he said the Prophet, he addressed the believers towards the end. He said, Allah has forever cut these ties of like the tribal, these tribal rivalries and tribal this arrogance or this pride, this tribal pride and rivalries. Allah has cut and destroyed that from now until the day of judgment. And he also used the term the ignorance, that tribal, that ignorance of that. Allah has done away with that. He said, so now going forward, it's only two people. Nobody gonna be regarded as, this person is above you in status because they from such and such tribe or they got above you in status because they got more money than you. It's only two people. It's a person who's a believer, who got taqwa, and they are graceful when it comes to their relationship with their Lord. And the person who is wicked, they don't think about Allah at all. And they're dealing with their creator, they have no respect or regard.
Changement couleur yeeg yi yëpp gannaaw gi rek la ca dëkk yi moo ko waral ak lekk yi waaye cosaani doomu aadama sax nit ku ñuul la ndax aadama mi nga xam ne mooy seen baay sax nit ku ñuul.
And he said, your Lord is one, and your father and your mother are one. I mean, Allah created you, and Adam and Hawa, everybody family tree resolve into them, and it don't go beyond that. What you does? Wow. He said. And he said, all the colors and the different languages and everything else that came, it came after that. And that was just so that people would look and know one another from each other. Because if we all look the same, nobody would be able to tell, nobody apart. So all of that came after. And he said, even if a person was going to say that, the person's, stature or where they at is based on color, then you have to go all the way back because Adam was a black person. Even Adam's name in Arabic, it means someone who's dark skinned. Someone who, and he described, we had a conversation day before yesterday, he said it means somebody who chocolate going on like kind of like brown. And that's the meaning of Adam in itself in Arabic. He said and he said after Allah created the human being and we started to spread out in the world, that didn't change until what they call the second people, when Allah, he destroyed most of the people on the earth. And Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, when the ark landed, his three children, when they spread out, that's only when that changed, because some of his children went to certain regions of the world, and their color began to change based on their environment. Some people went to different places and they changed according to their environment. That's the only time where you see the color of people started to change and alternate. But before that, everybody was one same color before the time of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam.
ndax dana tax nga xam ne gëneel amut ndax su fekkee ne àddina dund na ba agsi ci noox loolu soog a am kon bu fekkee ne weex moo gën lu tax nekk fi woon.
He said, and the reason he mentioned it is because it's good to know. Because once you know that, then you're not going to be of those people who are of the opinion that, color is something that would make a person better than another person. Because the people that claim that, they claim it on one side. You didn't see the other people claim that. But the people on one side, if they claim that, then you're going to say, if that was the case, then Allah would have made that first. Or he would have at least made it, he would have made that the beginning of it. But it went a long time before there were any differentiation between, the colors of people. So it's good to know, so that we know that it's not nothing that, that differentiate people or make their level different.
Ku feebar weex war a dee ñu ne ku ñuul rek ko mën a may deret du bañ de.
He said today, those people who have that spiritual sickness of racism, if they told them at a hospital, today you're going to die, the only thing that can save you is you get a blood transfusion, but the only type that we could find is this black man here. For sure they're not going to refuse, no matter what their level of racism.
kon xam na ne loolu teg ko ci fenn su fekkee ne moom mi ngi weex te deret bu nekk ci moom moo nekk ci kee kon kay xam na ne lii ci kaw nii du dara.
So if you know,
boo dindi woon der yi boo dindi woon deri doomu aadama yàpp bi nekk ci suuf mënoo wax ne bii yàpp bii nii yàpp nit ku ñuul la wala yàpp nit ku weex der bi ci kaw rek la te loolu environnement rek la.
So if you know that the blood between two different people can be exactly the same, and if you to take that first layer of dermis off the person, if you to basically skin two people, white and black, and lay them side by side, after that you wouldn't be able to tell who white or black. So you know it's nothing. It's nothing that comes and differentiate between people. It's just for us to know one another from each other.
pour nag mbokk boobu ci lislaam am lu ci njëkk mooy doomu aadama mu xeex ak bakkanam parce que bakkan bi mooy seytaane bu njëkk buy taxaw ci kanamam pour mu def dara lu baax.
So for us to really establish this brotherhood the way we should, our first step that we should take is to make sure that we do battle with our ego, with our nafs. Because the nafs is going to always stand in front of us. Before even Shaitan get to the fray, he's going to be the first person to stand in front of you to prevent you from doing anything good. So make sure that we do battle with our nafs and don't take our nafs as a companion or a friend.
Yàlla joxe ci misaal bu rafet bi mu bindee Adam xam nga ci alquran yàlla mu ngi wax ne Adama asa Adama rabbahu Adama dafa mooy yàlla ñu wàccee ko ci àdduna bi yàlla bindutoon Adam pour aljanna daf ko bindoon pour mu wàcc ci àddina parce que boobu yàlla bëgg na ku build àddina bi te malaaka yi mënuñ koo def parce que ñoom ay spirit rek lañ amuñ yaram so doomu Adama moo mën a def loolu waaye bara Adam di wàcc yàlla bëggoon na koo jàngal ne ko am na lu nekk ci yow loo xam ne soo xeexul ak moom lépp loo ñàkk moom moo la ko yàq.
He said when Allah created Prophet Adam alayhi salam, he said if you look at it, he didn't create him for paradise. He created him and he put him in paradise. But he didn't create him for paradise. He created him to come down to this world because he wanted him to build up the earth. He said the angels were there, but they couldn't do it because they were spirits without a body. But Adam alayhi salam, he was a spirit with a body. And Allah intended for him to come down here to build up the earth. But what he wanted to do was to show him with that whole episode of being put in paradise that you got something else with you too. You got a body and you got a spirit, but you got something else with you that if you don't rein it in and control it, everything that is ruined for you in your life is going to be the thing that ruin it. And that's the ego or the nafs. So that whole episode with him putting him there in paradise, that was just to teach him before coming down here that this is the enemy. Shaitan here enemy, but this the real enemy because it's an inside job. He's with you. So if you don't restrain it and fight it at all the time, whatever you see spoil in your life, just know that either one, the nafs or the ego is the culprit.
Amul maana yàlla nu mu baaxee ak nu mu yaatoo ak nu mu tabee mu may la aljanna yëpp ak nu aljanna rëyee ak nu mu em mu aaye la benn garab kese maanaam may la aljanna yëpp aaye la benn garab loolu amul sens amul maanaa boo xalaatee ngay gis ne li amul maanaa kon am na lu mu ci jublu Adam tamit yow tamit ñi may la aljanna yëpp lu mu rëyee lu nga soxla yëpp mi ngi fa ñi aaye la lu dul benn garab kese wax la bu ko laal nga ne par force dañ ko laal.
He said, and if you look at it, you know, when Allah put him in paradise and gave him everything and said, everything is for you, but, you know, this tree right here, don't touch it, just leave it alone. He should have known, like, gotta be something to it. I got everything else, but not this, gotta be something to it. It can't just be like, just for nothing. But the way he looking at it, he like, man, I got everything here. It's all mine, except for this tree. And he said, don't touch it. I gotta touch it. That's the nature.
maanaam amul sens yàlla may ko lépp aaye ko garab bi daf ko doon jàngal moom tamit ñi may ko lépp ne ko bu laal garab bi mënu koo muñ yàlla lu mu ko doon jàngal mooy doomu aadama lépp luñ ko aaye dafay bëgg loolu.
And what Allah, in summary, what Allah was trying to teach him was part of that nafs, right? Like the nafs is with you. It's going to cause you problems if you don't control it. And the worst part about it is you can give it everything. That one thing you don't give it, that's the one thing that it wants.
boo seetee nit su bëggee bëgg a takk jigéen bëggeel bi mën na am waaye parents yi papaam yi suñ opposé rek suñ nanguwut suñ bañee rek bëggeel bi day yokk fi mu ne fa force mu am ko rek wala mu dee.
He said, take for example, you might know somebody or some situation that fit this. He said, a man could want to marry a woman, and his desire for her could be middling. But the minute her parents be like, who? Like, nah, we're not with it. Then you're going to see that man, his desire is going to double. He's going to feel like, I got to have her. If I can't, I'll die if I can't have this woman. Just as an example of that.
moo tax bokk na ci nit pour mu xamee loolu sooy aaye nit dara sax xoolal noo koy aaye gis nga yàlla lu mu aaye doomu aadama yépp daf ko doon aaye par nànk-nànk pour rek bu mu bañ parce que nit bëggut ñi aaye ko dara soo ko bàyyee du bëgg loolu waaye bu nga ko aayee rek mu bëgg ko xoolal tey ko amee jabet bara mu amee jabet mën naa am sax du lekkati suukar noonu ak nangam ak ay ceeb yi bu baax ak noonu waaye bu ko docteur waxee bu laal loolu rek la bëgg dafay sàcc sax di ko def.
And he said Allah too is teaching that a human being hate for, somebody to restrict them from something. So even Allah in his own sunnah, he restricted people slowly and slowly and slowly, not all at once. When the Prophet ﷺ came, announced his prophethood and the Quran started coming, they didn't just say, all this is haram. They just took it real slow. Like with alcohol. At first, they said, don't drink it, don't come to Salat drunk. So that, a lot of people, they just stopped right off the bat. Some people are still trying to work it out, get drunk now, hangover, I'm going to be good by Fajr time. They're still trying to work it out. Then the second one was, hey, this is a stain from Shaitan. It's better you leave it alone. Most people after that, the majority of people after that stopped. Then finally, at the end, he came and, alcohol, gambling, these things are all haram. At that point, people were running, pouring out the alcohol, throwing up what they drunk. They were ready for it. But he didn't just come all at once and make things haram because that nature, he created us. He know that nature would be like, I'm not even an alcoholic, but now it's haram. I might want to check it out and see what it's about. Because that's the nature of the ego of the human being. And so, for example, the day that somebody, and may Allah protect us from that, find out that they pre-diabetic or got diabetes, they might not even been a heavy sugar eater. But the minute the doctor told them, now you gotta leave this, cut out. Now all of a sudden they got all these urges and they want a bunch of sweets and they want to eat everything they was told not to do, and that's just the nature.
moo tax nañ xeex ak suñu bakkan yi te jéem a ànd dimbalante suñu àndee dimbalante rek ndimbal yàlla daf ñuy fekk.
And he said, so with all of that, to just kind of summarize it, we should try our best to fight against our nafs and be together in our brotherhood and help each other. For sure, if we help each other, then the love is just going to naturally increase and we'll find it easier to be together with each other.
parce que tey liggéey la xisaab amut waaye suba xisaab la liggéey amut.
Because today, metaphorically speaking, is all about action. You're free to do whatever you want to do. Nobody gonna take accounting with you. This is not the time for accounting. But tomorrow a day is coming where you're not gonna have the chance to do any of these good deeds or actions that we're talking about, and it's gonna be all about the accounting. And that's the end of the whole problem. He said, may Allah help us and make us firm. Make our religion firm in us. And may Allah give us many, many, many more years on top of this earth, being together with each other and increasing in brotherhood. He said, although he, traveled all the way here from Senegal, he said when he come in and sit down, the only feeling he get is that he here with his brothers. I don't feel nothing. I don't feel I'm here with strangers. I feel I'm here with my brothers, and that's only Islam can do that. Outside of Islam, you ain't gonna find it nowhere. He said there are plenty of places that as soon as I step in and sit down, I'm gonna be made to feel like I'm not welcome and I'm not a part of what's going on. I mean, he said since Allah, He sent Islam to do that for us, and may He make that brotherhood for us strong until the day of judgment. And may Allah make us real Muslims on every level. And when Allah do that for us, our outside gonna be good, our inside gonna be good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. These are the announcements for today. We have 2 shahadas that are taking place after we finish the sunnahs. We have a janazah prayer that we're doing for a brother. His name is Jabril Abdul Hafiz. And he returned to Allah on October 6th. His body's being shipped back to his hometown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we're going to do a janazah prayer for him after we make the sunnah prayers. I got a text from Brother Yusuf Ali from Griffin, Georgia. He wants the community support him in a rally to elect Daoud Amin for mayor of Griffin, Georgia. He wants us to meet downtown in Griffin on the corner of 6th Street and Solomon Street tomorrow. That's at 9:30. And if you have his number, he said feel free to call him. The Dawah team has Imam W.D. Muhammad CDs for sale and organic seeds, okra, tomatoes, snap beans. Brother John has organic eggs for sale. See at the front desk for the eggs. The fundraising committee is sponsoring a family movie and game night fundraiser. That's on Saturday, November the 4th. The movie is Spider-Man Across the Universe. Tickets are $10 per person. Children 3 years and under are free. And we ask and encourage everyone to support this fundraiser. It's a good social event for our community. You're kind of coming back together after COVID. There's a Single Muslims Marriage Conference on October the 28th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., followed by a meet and greet after set and dinner from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. here at Masjid al-Mu'minun. Tickets are $40 per person. And I think that's it. Yes, that's right. Sisters United is having their annual health conference. I don't have all the details, but it is tomorrow at the Atlanta Masjid. And last but not least, we're asking for everyone in this community to make du'as for the people of Palestine and these in the day and the stuff that's going on right now over there. I mean, assalamu alaikum.
The two people who would like to accept Islam, where are they? Would they please step forward? It should be a sister and a brother. If anybody else want to accept Islam, please step forward. Maybe they left. Again, we're going to make janazah salat for our brother. Right after everyone finished their sunnah, we will make the salat for our brother Jabril. Thank you.